What that really means is we see not a whole lot of weather systems coming in. That just means a little more quieter period as we proceed through the rest of the work week and into the weekend. Looking even further out, it obviously becomes pretty difficult to project or predict the future, especially when we're looking a week, 2 weeks out. So what we shift is more probabilities. So we're expecting those above normal temperatures to continue through the next several weeks, through August, and even into September. So the chance of that continuing is good, is better than 50%. In terms of precip, that's the one thing that's kind of wavering a little bit. We do, over the next 14 days, we're expecting a little bit more precip than normal, which is good because we've been pretty dry over the last several weeks. But beyond that, things get a little uncertain, mainly because of the weather patterns. So we're not necessarily seeing one trend over another with weather patterns coming in and bringing a whole lot of precip. It's not really trending one way or another outside of that 4-week period. So thank you. If you guys have any questions after the meeting, please come and see me. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. And next up is Chris Hutzel, and he's our incident commander.
Thank you, Jacob. Good evening, everyone. Chris Hutzel, Incident Commander with Northwest Team 2. And just to, I have to put the trainee behind that because I'm not truly the qualified, and I'd like to introduce John Zolk in the back, who is the qualified Incident Commander. But he entrusts me to come up here in front of you folks and speak the truth and inform you what we do. So if you're familiar with the incident management teams, Northwest Team 2 is a national incident management team that travels around the country helping with large-scale incidents. We're one of 45 teams in the nation at this time. But the majority of our members, we have roughly 120 members on our team, but majority of us are from the Northwest. We're from Washington State. We're from Oregon. A lot of us are from these local areas as we've grown up through our careers in the fire service. So we have a lot of that local knowledge of these different communities. And I want to say thank you for allowing us to come in, be a part of your community, and to help with this incident that you've had. As they talked, this fire started on the 19th and took a pretty aggressive run and overwhelmed the local resources rather quickly. The incident management team that was here before us, they did a great job of doing the things they could with the resources they had. But knowing that this was going to be a large incident and had a potential for duration, they asked one of the national teams to come in and assist, and that's where we came in. So our team came in on Monday. We shadowed and briefed with the outgoing team, and we took command of the fire on Tuesday. And what that means is, all that really means is we just changed command. It had different leadership, but we brought people like Walt who have a high-level knowledge of suppressing fires in the wildland. We brought in the ability to bring in additional resources that can help us with this fire. So currently we have resources from Washington State Mobilization, Washington DNR, Forest Service. We've got BLM crews, and then a lot of contract crews, and that's just to name a few. So a lot of this takes that coordination and cooperation across all the agencies to how we come to these incidents and help each other out and take care of this. I want to say that I've appreciated working with Chief Boosie from Fire District 1 and Pat from Washington DNR. They've been great hosts, and they've allowed us the opportunity to do things that we need to do. And I'm gonna sew this up a little bit because I know I'm wondering, what does the weather mean about the fire and where it currently is? So like Walt said, crews have been able to get out there and put in these control lines and work these control lines over these last few days to ensure that the fire doesn't move out of the current footprint. Now, when we talk about the burn operation that we had this morning, that was to allow us to put in a control line and put it in an area that we could get resources to and able to suppress that. So as we move forward with these weathers, the anticipated weather that's coming in, it's important for us to continue working to secure those edges and ensure that the fire is going to stay in its current footprint. We're still going to have areas that are going to back down into those lower slopes or out of those rocky areas where we can't get, but we're prepared to take action when the fire does get there. So it's really about orchestrating. So As we pay attention to the weather, we want to make sure that we're getting our control lines in the depth that we need on the mop-up, so that as that warmer air comes in and the lower RH comes in and potential winds, that there isn't a threat for this fire to move. We talk about some interior, when fire burns on the inside or interior islands. That's, interior of the fire. Those are areas that didn't burn previously, but the conditions are getting right and it's inside. So it's going to put up smoke every so often. A lot of times when you have a fire in your area, you'll have smoke interior for weeks afterwards because it hasn't had time or hasn't had people to go in there and suppress it, but it's not a threat. It's on the inside the fire line. So we truly focus on controlling our fire lines, ensuring that the fire is not going to move, and taking care of any of those problem areas that we can anticipate with weather coming in. So I just wanted to put kind of the little wrap around it all there, and I'm going to let our agency administrators talk. Chief.
Thanks, Chris. Mike Busey, your fire chief for Fire District 1. Sometimes apparently better known, if you follow us on Facebook now, as the evil Freemason terrorist that starts these fires, so I could get you all to move into the city. So, what are you going to do? Anyway, I want to give you a little history of this incident, our role in it. But first question, what's an agency administrator? My role, and you're going to hear from Pat Ryan from DNR here shortly, but my role is your advocate, as I always am, whether it's insurance issues, whether it's other wildland issues. My job is to be an advocate and a tie-in to this team to make sure everything is done according to what we think should be done properly. Now, they're the experts. They bring in a ton of experts. They give me a ton of information. We get together as a group, and we come to an agreement on what's the best fit given the circumstances. Now, before I get the history on when this started, the day it started, I do have to tell you, I have told them, I have told the firefighters at briefing, we cover 375 square miles in this fire district. If you were to pick the absolute worst 3 square miles to have a fire out of that 375, this was it. All right? This is tough. I've actually, a little while ago, but I've hiked up there in the past. There's crevices, there's canyons, there's steep drop-offs. Matter of fact, if you haven't been out there or you're unfamiliar, there's a little crevice, I'm trying to remember, right in here, that they actually do rock climbing classes and stuff like that in the summer times. So that's how rough this territory is. Our number one concern is our residents and their properties, but really close behind that are the firefighters' safety as well. Not only ours, and we're familiar with that area, but we've got firefighters from all over the place. I was just communicating with a young lady. This was her first fire ever. She lives in Texas. So that's how far we've had resources come up, and I know we've got some from further away as well helping this team out. So Saturday, excuse me, it's been busy. It's just been busy. We're on a record pace for July. We set a record for call volume in June. The incident management teams, the local ones, we have 3 teams. We've been dispatched out 5 times now, which is, this point in July is really up there for that volume. So it ties in with Matt's weather and the previous lead up to what's going on. But I also want it to be a very firm understanding. We got the rest of July, August, and September to go. Last year, I was out the earliest I ever was on an incident management team, and that was in June. And I was out the latest I've ever been on an incident management team last year, and I got home, I think it was October 10th. This season's much worse, much busier at this particular point. So that's got to play in there. Now, with those increasing conditions, 4th of July, the red flag warnings, the near red flag warnings, we've done our severity staffing. He talked about the Friday before this came in, the higher winds, the warmer temperatures, the low RH. We did severity staffing. We, too, thought Saturday, Sunday, Monday was going to be a nice little break. I might get a couple days off in there that I've not been able to get. But, again, it's this area. The forecast for 9 Mile Falls is always going to be different than this area out here. It's going to be hotter, it's going to be drier, and it's going to be windier. And if you guys remember the Wicked Road fire last year, it was 700 acres. The reason we had trouble grasping that initially, and the aircraft had trouble initially, was because of the swirling winds in that area and through Corkscrew Canyon Road. So all this kind of comes into play as we move into Saturday. I get home Saturday from a fire assignment. I was over on Davenport helping another team. I thought, oh man, I'm going to have about 4 days off until the weather starts to turn back up. I run to Spokane. I'm like, let's go to dinner. We go to the Asian place there in Northern Quest. I get a phone call. Hey, check out what's going on. Run back. We got the call, I think at about 3:20. Our crews go out there, immediately saw the original fire start, which was over here. They immediately called, said it jumped the highway. The resident here said it jumped her house, got in behind her barn, hit that ridge, and off it went. So we have terrain, we have wind, we have low humidity values. Those are not the things you want to line up on a day like that. So I get out there. My guys were busting their butts out in the field. They said, Chief, as soon as you get here, take command. I tied in with DNR. Fortunately, Tim Love, who's very familiar with this area for DNR, was there. We tied in together. We started talking about resources. Probably not, well, one issue we did have is lack of cell service down there. So we couldn't do our updates on our Facebook page. We couldn't call out very well. Fortunately, one of our volunteers had a Starlink Mini. We also have a Starlink Mini that's on loan from the Stevens County Libraries to use, which is super nice. Once we got that set up, we got things moving. I was able to get hold of the state EOC. I requested state mobilization, which sends multiple strike teams in our way. Through the relationships I've built over the 15 years here, I got calls from the upper echelon of state mob to make sure we were going to get the resources we needed. They were a little short because of the fire in the southwest part of the state along the Columbia. Took 9 strike teams. We did get 3, but they called them heavy because they added additional resources to them, and that's working out well for us as we speak today. Matter of fact, one of those resources is on that night crew that's going to be heading out in a little bit. We also made the decision at that particular point in time, when it was about 500 and some acres, to call in a Type 3 incident management team. Unfortunately, that was my team that I'm normally assigned to, so I couldn't actually help them set up. But I did start taking over the logistics section on Monday and Tuesday as part of the transition to this good team here. And so I've transitioned back to just being the agency rep and fire chief. I'll still take on some calls that come in along with the crews, but I've been working down here really close with these folks. There's a lot going on. I do want, Jacob, you want to flip that for me real quick? You said the map?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Right behind you, Chief.
it's this one.
Yeah.
I thought it was this one. So I do, just as a reminder for everybody, I think most of you are aware of this map. So this is the Lake Spokane fire, Ford Corkscrew Dinosaur fire right there. In 2014, we had a different Lake Spokane fire, and what is not showing on this map is the 2015 fire that rolled up from Rail Canyon up along Highway 231. We did have some other fires in the past. Carpenter Road never came into the fire district, but we worked very hard to do that. And for some of you that may question firing operations, burnouts, whatever you want to call them, Carpenter Road, we probably did about 10 square miles of firing operations to keep the fire out of the fire district. So those become a very important tool as well. I don't have anything else at this particular point. If you have questions afterward, be more than happy to help them or help you out along with the rest of the group. So we will turn that over to Adina Sellers, who's our county emergency manager. Fortunately, her and I work really well together. I do want to introduce one person real quick, Georgia Davenport, fire commissioner for the fire district. She helps me make my job easier and allows me to do a lot of this stuff. So here's